Right. So those of you that have joined, my name is Kate with Scott Ryan Marketing. Today we're going to be covering the opportunities section of Command, otherwise known as the sales pipeline. So with that, we're going to be going over how to manage your contacts through that lifespan of that opportunity, and what that kind of looks like. So let's go ahead and jump into Command. So we want to make sure we are logged into our Command platform. If you're not familiar with the command link, it is agent.kw.com. That will redirect you to this screen here. Um, Full disclaimer right here, your screen can look different from mine. I just like to point that out because sometimes people will jump in and say, well, that's not what mine says. Um, these home screens here under the little house, this is your home screen. These can be customized a little bit. So if yours has different information on this front page, that is totally okay. And you can customize those how you like, what's most important to you. Um, the first thing we want to do for today's class, though, is we want to make sure before we create our opportunity in Command, we want to make sure that we have our accounts connected in the settings. So our DocuSign account primarily, if you're in an office that utilizes Dotloop, you can also check here to make sure you're connected to Dotloop. But in order for us to check those settings and make sure we are connected, we're going to click on the little drop down next to our name in the top right corner. And from there, we just want to head into our settings. Now, again, this is just important because when you're creating those opportunities, you want to start in Command before you go to DocuSign or Dotloop. And when you're creating those opportunities in Command, you want to be able to easily start your Dotloop loop or your DocuSign room. So having those connected here in the settings is going to be super important. You can see they're up here at the top. We have DocuSign as well as Dotloop in our account. You will most likely only have one or the other, depending on what your office utilizes. You should see in the center here that they show that they are connected, and they should have the disconnect option to the right of that. Otherwise, they may say not connected, connect account. So make sure you are connected here. It shows connected, and you will be good to go for the rest of class. So we're going to navigate back to our home screen here. And from here, we want to navigate down to our opportunities tab. These are the different applets within Command. If you're not familiar with those different icons and what those applets are for, you can certainly hover over them. It will give you that name for whatever that specific applet is called. You can also hit this red and white KW in the top corner. This will expand that menu bar so that you can view those names and applets a little bit easier. And you can also close that by clicking that again. So we're going to go into the opportunity section of Command, otherwise known as our sales pipeline. It looks like two hands shaking. So we're going to click onto that. Now, once we are in our opportunities tab, we're going to go over this dashboard here and kind of cover the different things here. Before we go into fully creating an opportunity. So here you'll see that we have a personal sales pipeline. Now, if you're on a team, you may also have a team pipeline next to that. And then you should always have all opportunities as well. Now over to the right, we can create an opportunity right here. We can mess with our settings. That's going to take us back into our settings of Command. Import, if you're looking to import loops from when you previously used Dotloop or anything like that. And then down below, you're going to see that we have three different pipelines. So these are called your pipelines here. You have a listings pipeline, you have a buyers, and you're going to have a leases. Now, if we go down, we're also going to have some numbers down here. So we have some ratios. How many listings, buyers, leases are we working with? What is the probable versus potential income, which we'll come back to what those kind of mean. We're also going to see our activity. So what does our transactions look like over the course of, a year? We can also change this little drop down up top. We can see all opportunities if we want to. We can take a look at just our listings. So how are we doing listings wise? We can take a look at buyer, landlord, as well as tenant. So you can kind of sort through those and check out your numbers down here. Now down below that, you're going to have closings this month. So if you have any upcoming closings, those are going to be listed right here. Now, if we come back up again to our pipelines, you're going to see that we have some different phases. So each pipeline is going to have their own phase. As you can see, they're all the same except for this little guy right here. It's going to show pending instead of under contract, but all of the rest of these have the same phase for each of the different transactions. So cultivate. This is going to be when you're kind of forming that relationship with somebody. Once you've had an appointment with them, are they an active listing? Are you now under contract, closed? So this just gives you an overview of those. We will click into these in a second and take a deeper look at what that looks like. But I want to point out that each phase has a number. That number is going to identify how many transactions you have within that specific phase. So we have 5 in the cultivate, 4 in cultivate. We have 8 in appointment, 0 in appointment. Those numbers are going to identify those actual transactions or contacts that you have in that specific section of the phase. Below that, you're going to see that you're going to have volume. So how much volume is within that specific phase. And you're going to also start to see average time. So how long is a transaction sitting in that cultivate phase before they're moved to the next phase? This is going to change as those transactions are being moved through the phases and as you're getting closer to closing. This helps determine these amounts over here on the right-hand side. So these are for your GCI. You have potential income. So this is going to tell you how much is in your pipeline here. Now, your potential income is the total commission from all of the opportunities in this listing pipeline if they were to all close. Now, the difference in that one and this one, your probable income, you can see it's a little bit lower, or quite a bit lower. This is adjusted commission based on where your transaction is within the pipeline. So if you're in Cultivate, obviously that transaction is not as likely to close as if you were under contract. So that probable income is going to change as these transactions are moving through the pipeline. And it's going to give you a clearer picture of what are the chances of you getting that full potential income because it's going to calculate that based on where they are and the likelihood that that transaction will close. Now you will see that potential and probable income for all of these different types of transactions. Again, that probable is going to change as you're moving people through the pipeline. I don't see any questions yet, so let's keep rolling. So if we click into one of these phases, you'll see within the phase itself, we are going to have some different stages. So we have a lead, nurture, watch. We also have hot. So when you're cultivating a relationship, you're going to know which one of these it falls under. How close are you to getting that to the next phase with that specific person? Each of these different phases are going to have different stages. You can customize these, so just keep that in mind. If there are ones that you are not using, you can remove or change the names of those. Also, I want to just point out down here at the bottom, you're going to see those probable and potential incomes again for each of these phases. Again, as you're moving a transaction through the pipelines here, those potential and probable incomes, those are going to change as you're adding new transactions and as you're moving them through the pipeline. Same for appointment, you're going to see we have a few different stages. We have scheduled, headed to appointment, at appointment with clients. Again, these can all be customized. You can adjust those here. So you can kind of edit the names as well as remove some if you're not interested in using those. The question here. Once a contact is qualified as a listing buyer, listing or buyer, how does the contact get an opportunity? So you would want to create an opportunity, and we will get to creating an actual opportunity here in just a few moments. Other than the probable and potential income at the bottom, you're going to see a percentage here. That's also playing into those amounts, how likely they are to get to closing. As you can see, it's going to increase as we're moving through these with the likelihood of that transaction closing. You're going to see that it's adjusting and it's only increasing as you're moving through the pipeline. Now, as you're moving people through the pipeline, it's very easy. So if you are in showing, you're going to simply kind of hover over those 6 little dots on the far left of the opportunity, and you can drag those and drop those to a new section. Same for the different phases. If you click on those, drag and drop, you'll notice that box behind under contract is turning like the bluish green. When I drop that transaction over there, it's going to let me know down here on the right bottom corner that the opportunity has been updated. And then if we were to come here, you're going to see that we have that opportunity listed here. Now, a couple of other things before we fully jump into creating an opportunity. You're going to notice that we have some other little things on the actual opportunity card here. So you have client updates, if you have those on or off, and we're going to go over what those look like. You're also going to have tasks. As you're moving these contacts through the pipeline, you're going to have different tasks that are going to pertain to that specific part of the pipeline. So if there are specific things you're doing during that part of the transaction, say if you have things that you're preparing for an appointment and you want to make sure you're checking those off, you can create those tasks lists for yourself to make sure you're doing everything the same and being consistent in your business. So you do have all of those over there. Now, if we go back just to show you that the buyer's pipeline is the same, it's just going to have different stages and phases. It is the same process. We are going to be creating a listing opportunity today, so I just want to show you guys that that is the same process there. All right, no more questions. Let's keep rolling along. The less questions, the faster we get done with class. So I will hang around though if you guys have questions if we get done early. So the next thing I want to do with you guys though is how to actually create the opportunity in here. So as you can see, there's a create opportunity button in the top right corner. There's also the option to create an opportunity straight from your contact. So if you've input a new contact into command, you can go into that contact card and you can create an opportunity right here on the right-hand side under opportunities. You just hit that little plus. Actually, I think the plus is not the right one. I think this is for activities. Yeah. You want to hit create opportunity. I'm sorry. And from there, it will prompt you with the same thing if you were in the pipeline and creating your transaction there. So a couple of ways to get those created. I am going to go back to the opportunities. I just want to show you guys that was also an option. So if you're inputting them and getting them started on their transaction all at the same time, you can do it right there. Alternatively, if you want to come into opportunities and hit create opportunity, you want to make sure if you are in multiple market centers, you want to make sure you select your market center and make sure it's correct. Once the market center is selected, it cannot be changed. So if you created one, if you were in multiple offices and you created one under the wrong market center, unfortunately that opportunity would have to be recreated. So this is super important if you're in multiple offices to make sure it's correct. Same if you're on a team. If you are on a team and you create one in your personal sales pipeline, it cannot be moved to the team pipeline. So if you're on a team, make sure that is selected as well. Or if it's supposed to be a personal transaction, just pay close attention to that. And lastly, you want to make sure this one is also correct. These 3 items, once they are entered, cannot be updated. So market center, team, and opportunity type. You can't switch a listing to a buyer or a buyer to a listing. You would want to restart over with that transaction. So keep that in mind. Again, we're going to focus on a listing today. Owner, of course, would be me. This may differ if, again, you're on a team. Client name. So we can come in here and we can type in our client's name if they're not yet in our database. We could create a new contact. However, if they are in our database already, we can go ahead and pull them here. We'll just do fake contact for today. So you can search for them, pull them up, and get started. Now, if you have a co-seller, you can also pull them in as well. Here is where you're going to put your opportunity name. Some offices will ask you to put your opportunity name as something specific. Maybe they're wanting the address or something like that. So otherwise, you can name these best way for you to identify them. Custom tags, if you have any of those, you can get those added. Then you have some dates and things that you may not know right away when you're first getting started. So closing dates, time frames, some of those information you may not have just yet. I'm going to go ahead and just enter 6 for the commission rate. And then we have to determine where is this contact at within the process. So are we still cultivating the relationship? Are we in appointment or active? I'm going to start them in cultivate. And then again, once you have your phase selected, you're going to want to make sure you select the correct stage. So we're going to go ahead and put them in hot. We have a good relationship. They're pretty close to being ready. We'll go ahead and hit create. Maybe. All right, well, it doesn't like me today. I don't think I'm missing anything. That's okay. We'll come and find one that we've already got started. Not a problem. And while I'm here, we can kind of look at the all opportunities. So let me refresh that. So beyond your sales pipeline here, you also have all opportunities. This is a great way for you to come in and search for specific opportunities. And view all of them at once versus looking in the little stages and phases. So you can come here, you can search by address, opportunity name, or contact name. So all of those are an option. If you're looking for, say, a closed transaction or an archive transaction or something like that, you would want to be looking in the all opportunities. Archived and closed transactions will not appear here. Closed will appear until the office has transmitted the month after that closed. So you can see that we have all 0. If you were to have a closing, let's say you had a closing in January, and after the office transmitted on February 1st or whatever day they transmit that month, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, once they've transmitted, your closed transactions are going to fall out of your pipeline. So you're going to see those at 0 again. We get a lot of questions on those because people are like, where did it go? Those will land under the all opportunities once the office is transmitted after closing. So as you can see, we have some closed transactions in here. We can even filter by closed transactions specifically. So we can find all of those closed transactions. Same for archived if we want to see the or lost, so lost or archived transactions. You can find those here. The difference in a lost and an archived transaction, archive would be a great option if you have made an error. Let's say you created that opportunity under the incorrect market center or under the team versus your personal, you would want to archive that. It's not that the deal fell through, it was just a mistake. Lost transaction is going to be good for if the deal fell apart or something like that happened where the transaction is no longer happening. So those are the 2 options for that. Again, you can find those lost and archived transactions here. Once we get into an opportunity, I'll show you how to mark an opportunity as lost or archived. But you can filter for all different types of opportunities here. If you're looking for something you're not finding, of course, you have the view here with opportunity name, contact, address, assignees, etc. You can even set up smart views. Let's say you don't want to see those closed transactions or archived or lost when you come in here. You can set up a smart view that removes those and shows everything but them. So great alternative here. Let's use this guy here. So back to creating our opportunity and what that looks like. Once we have an opportunity created, you will have a opportunity looks similar to this. You'll have the details section that will show you some of the key information. So the opportunity type, ID, etc. Down below, you're going to have key dates. You can plug these in if you're going to use some of the additional support in here to kind of send out updates to your clients. These come in handy. You can edit your financial information. So if you entered a commission and something changed, you can come edit that. ownership down here, this is going to be where it says that Market Center name, team, and owner. It shows that you can edit. However, just to let you guys know, again, these items cannot be changed. They are grayed out. So mostly everything else in this section, seller worksheet, all of this can all be edited by hitting those little pencils. Some information can be edited, but there's very few that can't. Down here in this ownership is specifically one that can't be. So beyond that, we have marketing. So we'll go ahead and check that out. So marketing, this is kind of a do it for you area. Once you have your listing or address plugged in specifically for listings, this won't appear up here for buyers. And the marketing will be a little bit different. But for listings, it will like prompt you with recommended social or marketing of any kind, print marketing, social posts, postcards, things like that. It will give you suggested items to use. So as you can see, currently it looks like this opportunity is under contract. So it's giving us different types of marketing for under contract. So we could easily click into these, edit. It's going to start pulling in the information from the listing once we have that plugged in. You can also do paid ads directly from here for this specific property. So this is a great option to come in and check out. Now beyond marketing, we have documents. Now the documents is where you're going to get connected to your DocuSign or dotloop account. It's where you're going to upload documents for you to be able to be compliant and also get paid. So you would submit all of your compliance paperwork here based on what is required for your transaction. Let me see if I can find one that's not started just yet so I can show you guys what that looks like. All right, so here we go. So let's check out this one. So once we are in this document section, you're going to notice over here on the left-hand side, we have to check the type of checklist we're going to be using for this transaction. You will have different options depending what your office has added here. So you may not have all of these options here. You may just have one or two. Generally, this is going to get information on if it's residential, a new construction, something like that. But again, this will differ from office to office as to what your office has input here. We're going to go ahead and select residential listing though. And once we do that, that is when our checklist starts to populate with what documents are required in order for us to be compliant and be paid for this specific transaction. You'll see the listed folder. You'll also have an under contract folder. They're going to have different requirements, again, set by your office and what is required in your local area. You'll also have a closed section. Now, once we have selected our checklist, you do want to come over here and start your transaction. So when it comes to creating a loop or a room within DocuSign or dotloop, you are always going to want to start in command first. I emphasize that because once you start a loop or a room in either of those two platforms, if you do it before you've come here, there's no way to connect those to each other, which just creates a little bit of extra work. It's not a ton, but you always want to come here and start transaction first. So once you're here, you should have this. It'll either say start transaction or it will say go to transaction. If you've already done this process, it will say go to, like the previous room we were in. We have a drop down. You most likely will have one or the other unless you're in a special office that utilizes both of these. You're going to select if you're using DocuSign or dotloop, and then from there, you're going to hit start transaction. It's then going to bring you into that specific platform. As you can see, it's redirecting us to DocuSign. And it's going to start that DocuSign room for us. That allows us to then start pulling in documents, sending them to our contact to get signed and completed. And then once those documents are signed and completed within DocuSign, it allows us to easily pull them in from the DocuSign room. So if we had documents within the DocuSign room, we'd be able to see them here and pull them in. Now, if in the off chance you started a loop or a room before coming here and hitting start a transaction, you can switch this to manually upload documents. So if you did that and that happened, you just want to download those documents to your computer and manually upload them. So it will just give you a little bit of a different option. Again, just an extra step kind of for that. If you're using .loop, it's going to be the same process as this. It's going to say .loop and pull in those documents. Again, these required or not required are set by your office. Once you have those documents uploaded and you have everything in here that's required, you're going to submit those to your Market Center staff by hitting Submit to Market Center. That will send that over to them, let them know that they need to review that information, and then you'll get a bell once it's either been approved, maybe they've given you notes on something that's missing, or it's been rejected for one reason or another. You'll get a notification bell letting you know, and you can come in here and take a look. Now, we do get questions sometimes on if you are trying to upload a document that's not required or listed. If you're looking to upload any documents that are not required or listed in the checklist, you can add your own custom folder down here and keep those documents with that transaction so that you can come in here and access those at any time. Now from here, you can move into your offers and commissions. This is where you would create your offer for a deal. We can go ahead and see if we can plug one in. It may give us a problem because the address. Let's see if we can grab this one. Oops. Now, if you want to add your listing once you have it in MLS to your opportunity, you can click that select from listings and you can search for the property. You can do that by all listings, my listings, only my office listings, or I'm sorry, my Market Center listings, my listings, and all. You can also search by MLS number or street address. We recommend using that MLS number. A lot of addresses, street names are going to be used in multiple areas. So having an MLS ID is just going to save you a little bit of time. Let's see if we can search this. All right, let's go right here. Let's see if it will let us. Yeah, I can't grab it because it's not mine to grab. But let's see if we've got one so that I can show you guys. Let's see if we've got one that's connected. Sorry for all the jumping around. Just want to make sure we show you guys the correct things. Nope, we don't have one here either. That's okay. Once you add your offer though, it will allow you to accept or reject that. You'd want to come in here, plug in all of the information. You have the offer name, you can pull in the address, property type, units, seller information, buyer information, that is seller, buyer info, terms and dates. So you'll have your sales price, cash, finance, earnest percentage, earnest amount, contract date and close date. If there's any contingencies, those can be added. And if there's any comments. Now, once you have your offer created, you have a couple of options. You can create the offer. You can also create and accept the offer. Now, once the offer is created and accepted, you will see it here. And then that will allow you to go in and manage your commissions in order for you to submit that and get paid. Moving backwards, I don't see any questions just yet. Moving backwards, let's take a look at what it looks like on those marketing tabs as we move someone through the pipeline. Let's grab this guy here. So as you can see, that marketing tab, we're in a different phase on this one. It's in the cultivate phase and we're in the stage hot. So our marketing is going to be adjusted based on where we are in that transaction. Again, this gives us a way to easily come in and create that marketing for that specific listing and easily promote that. Let's move this guy over. Let's move to active. We were seeing the under contract, so it's nice to see the different ones. This was our person. So now that we are in marketing, as you can see, it's adjusted based on where we're at. So we have some different options. We have print marketing, we have social posts, and those are going to be, open house, just listed, etc. So great way for you to come in and easily be able to identify marketing pieces that are going to work great for your listing. Let's see. Sorry, we're moving a little bit quick today. I want to slow down a little bit, make sure we cover everything. If we get done early, we'll have time for questions, but if you guys have any while we're right here, go ahead and drop those in. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our pipeline. Other things on this pipeline here that I wanted to take a look at with you guys that we kind of mentioned, these client updates and these checklists. You can create templates for these checklists that will pertain to every opportunity as you put them in here. It won't backdate and update the checklists for previously entered opportunities, but if you were to come in and create your checklist by coming up here to stages, you can create your checklist for each of these. Give it a second to load. Actually, there we go. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. This is for editing the other part. This is for the checklist. So if we click on that, we can come in here and create our own custom checklist that can pertain to every opportunity. So you can come in here and customize these. So you can see if you're in Cultivate, if we had any checklists, they would pop up. Usually we have some, so I'm not sure why they're not showing on this specific opportunity. There we go. There's some. Okay, so if you had specific checklists that you have set up and created for your opportunities, you'll have those items in here where you can come in, you can check them off, you can add due dates, mark them as completed. You can also edit or archive those. Every contact, every opportunity is a little bit different. So if you have a contact that is a little bit more, you know, hand-holding versus someone that is maybe an investor and really doesn't need a ton of attention, you can come in and adjust these accordingly. So if there's certain things that maybe an investor's not interested in hearing or seeing about, you can come in and remove those. Alternatively, if you have someone that maybe is a lot more hands-on and wants more updates, you could come in here and create your own task to maybe call them once a week, things like that. So these checklists are for you to, again, be consistent with your business and consistent with each of your opportunities. So if you're doing closing gifts, if you're ordering a videographer, photography, things that you want to do during each stage and phase, you can come in and create your own custom checklist. We do have some pre-made examples of what those checklists look like. And let me see if I can grab those and drop those in the chat for you guys really quickly, because they are super helpful. Give me 1 second and I will grab those for you guys. We've got built out both buyers and sellers and kind of the basic things that you'd want to include in those checklists. Let's see, that one does not have it. Here we go. Let me drop these in the chat for you guys. This is a great way for you to come in and kind of take a look at what pertains to you and your business and customize those checklists for yourself. So that is the seller and there is the buyer. So those are in the chat if you guys want to take a look at those and kind of come in here and customize your checklists. Now, with that being said, some of these you can turn on client updates. So client updates, that will notify the client each time. It will give them kind of a daily report of those things. So as you can see, they're turned off right now. Let me close this chat, go back. If we come to the settings, you can see that that brings us directly into our opportunities client update. So this allows us to set up a template that's going to be emailed to our client every day. And it will provide them an update of those items. So as you can see, it allows us to set our time zone, who the send from is So who is that coming from? It's going to come from the owner of the contact or the owner of the opportunity. Do we want to send it to the client only, the client and the co-client? And then are we also wanting to send a copy to ourselves? When you send that, they're going to get an email that looks similar to this. These emails are not customizable really, other than the information we covered. So you can't really adjust any of this. These photos up here and the name and everything, this information is going to pull from your marketing profile and command. So as long as that is up to date, it will plug in your photo, your market center number, your name, and all of that information. But it will send them an updated email that looks similar to this with the items that you're wanting them to be updated on. And then it will also provide download my app, all of that good stuff. Again, this information, all of this that looks like it is a template, this is all going to pull from your marketing profile to send them that email. Now, for those client updates, you would want to make sure they're turned on for certain items. And you can do that. Let's come back in. They move things around on me. I'm so sorry, guys. This brings us back into settings. Okay, I'll have to figure that one out. They moved the button on me. Um, guys, I think that is pretty much everything that I want to go over with you guys. Let me find out that where they moved that button to. But does anyone have any questions at all? That is basically everything with the command opportunities overview and what we cover. So if you don't have any questions, you can definitely jump off. That is totally fine with me. And I can stop recording. We can go over some questions you guys have. I'll go ahead and do that.